Welcome to the next lesson in our course. So in the last lesson we organized our code. We did a bit of refactoring, and the main reason that we refactored was to enable us to move forward in our code. And as you will see, by refactoring, we are able to make passing data to our templates much easier. It doesn't matter if it's one piece of data or 10 pieces of data, we'll be able to do that. So our biggest challenge when we looked at the validation was I wanted us to be able to not only pass the errors, where are we? Yeah, I didn't only want to place them on the page by saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I want to be able to display the form, have a message show up that tells the user you need to enter this data, or this piece of data is too long. And we also want to keep the good data. So if the user entered the category correct and they entered the author correct, we want to keep those. We don't want the user to re-enter them. Okay, so for us to do that, we would have to pass to our templates the old data that the user put in. And we need to be able to pass in the errors, the things that failed the validation, so that the user can see it on the page. And we discussed earlier that we are only able to pass in one piece of data using our templates. Okay, so for example here, when I execute, I can only pass in Q. I cannot pass in anything else. Okay, so how do we overcome this problem? Well, we will think again about structs, because remember, a struct can hold many pieces of data. So instead of passing in separate data to the execute function, we will put all the data that the template needs into a struct and then pass that struct. And so we will be able to solve our problem of only having to pass one piece of data. And so to do that, I'm going to go into my web directory, and I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it templates.go. Okay, so this templates.go file is a part of the main package. All right, so it means that I can use it without any problems. Okay, from inside handlers or main, because if you recall, handlers is also part of main, and main, of course, is a part of main. So templates is a part of main. So basically, it's just the same file. So let's create a type, and this type we will call template data. So any data that this template needs, that our templates need, we're going to put that data as a field in our template data struct. Doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, 4, or 5 different things, we will be okay. So we have a field name quotes. Okay, that's an appropriate name. And quotes is simply the slice of pointers to quotes. So models that quote. Right, if you recall the name, all right, models that quote. Okay, models and quote. All right, so we have our type, okay, models that quote, and so we will pass in this to our templates. Obviously, I need to import the location. So I'm gonna say LewisDarwin.net/ where is it? PKG. Oops, quote box /PKG and then /models. Good. All right, so yes, I know I'm not using it. I will use it right now. So again, anything that our templates need, we're gonna put it right in here. Okay. So now we have this file, and you might be asking, well, couldn't we just take this and put it in my application struct here, right? Yes, I could have done that, right? But I want to separate data from, the data that we need for the templates from the other things we need, like database connection, right? They're kind of two separate things. One is strictly data that the templates need, and this one is about the resources that our handlers need. Okay. Yes, our handlers do need what is in templates, because it's the handler that calls execute. That's true. But we still want to separate data from the other resources that a handler needs. All right. Okay, so let's see how this works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into my handlers at Go, and we're going to go down to display quotation. Okay, and so when we get back our slice, right, that's what we pass to execute as Q. But I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to pass Q, because what if we want to pass other things later on? Right? So let's say our display becomes sophisticated. We don't want to only display a page with just the data. We want to have other things displayed as well. And those other things we have to send to the template. Obviously, I can't do that because Q is already taking up the only spot that is allowed. So what I'm going to do, I will now create an instance of my template data. Okay, and so what I'm going to say is, let's put this here before I parse. Okay, so an instance of template data. Okay. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to say data, so appropriate name, is an instance. So I'm going to use the address of template data. Okay, and so template data, I will set the quotes field to be Q, my comma. Okay, and so now I am not going to pass in Q, I'm going to pass in data. Okay, and so you notice I am passing in one thing, but that one thing can contain many things that the templates need. And I will not be breaking the rule where Go says execute can only accept an IO writer and a data. Two things. Right? But lucky for us, interface open close curly brace means data can be anything, can be any type. And because of that, data is going to be a struct. Okay? And so we have effectively solved the problem of having to pass in multiple things to our template given that only one thing can be sent. Okay, so let me show you that this still works. Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so localhost, okay, still works out. Let's use show. Oh, okay, so I'm getting an internal server error. Means we did something wrong. All right, so what is it telling me? It's telling me show page. Okay, so we have a problem with our template. Okay, can't iterate over something. All right, so let's go to our templates, and you should be thinking what the problem is. It seems we did not update something in our show page template. All right. So yeah, that makes sense, right? We were passing in Q, and so we were just using Q. But we put Q now inside of our template data struct, which means that because template data can have many fields inside of it, we have to specify which field we want. So we want the, what's the name of the field? Quotes. Okay, so we want the quotes field. So I'm going to say that quotes. So I want the quotes field, and so if the quotes field exists, okay, then I want the dot body from the quotes field, and I want the dot author name from that quote field. Okay, so we had to make changes here. Quotes. Let's try again. Okay, and let's refresh. Okay, and there we have it. All right, so it still works. And so now we can move on to the second part, which is to use this idea which we just looked at, but now use it so that we can pass. Let me stop my server. Use it now so that inside of handlers.go, we want to handle our validation. Okay, and like I said, we want to be able to send to our template, to our quote form page template, multiple pieces of data. All right, I'll see you in that lesson. And so you have to understand this lesson before you can understand the next one, because the next one I will extend what we did here. I'll see you in that one.